Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Virayet Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10, verse 11. Rakshodhamen vrukavad vipine shamaksham vaideha raja duhitaryapaya piptayam bhratravane kripanavat priyaya viyuktaha Stri Sanginam Gatimiti Prathayam Stachara. When Ramachandra entered the forest and Lakshmana was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Raksha, Raksha Adhama, meaning the Adhama, the most lowest among the Raksha. Raksha means Rakshasas. Um, so there are two types. One is Asura, one is Rakshasa. Asura means anybody who has evil mindset is called an Asura. But Rakshasa is actually a man-eater. So Ravana is described as Rakshasa. So the worst of Rakshasas, Ravana, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshmana, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. In this verse, the words Stri Sanginam Gatim iti, Stri Sanginam Gatim iti. Stri Sanginam means one who has Sangha with Stri. What is the Gati? What is the destiny of a person who has Stri Sangha? Indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord Himself. Now, obviously, we need to also understand the transcendental nature of Lord Rama's pastime. No, there is something that needs to be learned from for fallen souls like us. But why did Lord Ramachandra become so afflicted when Sita Devi was abducted? So yesterday I anyway told that when Ravana came to abduct Sita Devi, actually it was Maya Sita, right? So the real Sita, just she Leela Shakti does this, so she becomes invisible, and then Maya Sita was taken away by Ravana. But of course, from a pastime perspective, it's not Ramachandra doesn't know that Chaya Sita has gone. He doesn't know that the original Sita has remained. Now, this is all done by Leela Shakti. So, which is why in the Leela of the Lord himself becomes subservient to his Leela Shakti, which means that he comes under the control of Leela Shakti. Leela Shakti seems to be superior because she bewilders even the Lord. But of course, she has been given empowered, she's been given that position by the Lord himself. So it's not like suddenly you should not think that, oh, no, how come somebody became more greater than Krishna, greater than God? No, but that's because he himself has given that um, power to Leela Shakti to bewilder him. So he's thinking that Sita Devi is abducted. Uh, uh, yeah, so uh, um, and so he becomes deeply afflicted. Now he becomes deeply afflicted because in Ramayana, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj writes that this is the transcendental love of Supreme Lord and His consort, that they cannot be separated from each other even for a moment. Mm. Now this, of course, is not the um, is not the lusty relationship of the material world, right? Lusty means for each other's happiness. It's not like that. It's not sense gratification. Because Sita Devi is Ladini Shakti of Rama. So when Sita Devi is gone, then Rama cannot be happy. It's the natural state, right? It's the natural state, right? That Sita Devi is not there and Ramachandra is distressed. And all his feelings, everything that he expresses, um, are from that platform of having been separated from his eternal consort. And which is why, we say that, okay, Krishna is Atma Rama, all that, but Atma Rama means self satisfied, but Supreme Lord is not self satisfied. Only the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Lord is self satisfied, meaning he doesn't have any, because he has a role to play in the material world, but Supreme Lord himself in the spiritual world, whether it is Krishna or Rama in their pastimes, they cannot. I mean, there's a reason that there's Ladini Shakti, right? There's a reason that there's Ladini Shakti, and Ladini Shakti is meant to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord. So he cannot be satisfied by himself, because he has to be satisfied by his internal potency, by his Ladini Shakti, pleasure potency. Mm. So obviously he was affected. He was affected because his Ladini Shakti is happiness potency, meaning his happiness was gone. Simply to put, his happiness bond was gone, because the pleasure potency comes from the body of the Lord, right? So all the happiness that is there in Krishna or Rama, it manifests as Sita Devi or Radha. So that means that if she is not there, he cannot be happy. The happiness in him is gone, and happiness is already gone. He separated and created a separate entity called Radha or Sita, and so only is happy in the association of Radha or Sita. They cannot remain alone, which is why yesterday I was telling, in South India they do this Varmaha Lakshmi, and they generally worship only Lakshmi Devi. But they can't, Lord will be so displeased, and Shakti will also be displeased. When Shakti is worshipped, when Radha, Sita, Lakshmi Devi, they're worshipped independent of their Supreme Lord, they can't be happy. And so Shastra says then Lakshmi Devi becomes Chanchala, and she doesn't want to remain in a house where there is no worship of Narayana. So we don't have to do all this. For us, we are just chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and Radha and Krishna are being worshipped, Shakti and Shaktiman are being worshipped. So we don't have to do any separate Vrata and Puja and all that. That's all mundane stuff. People say, no, anyway, it's connected to Lakshmi Devi. But why do they do Lakshmi Puja? Because they want money. That's why they're doing it. It's not for any some spiritual benefit or spiritual progress, right? So it's all mundane stuff. It's all very mundane stuff. So anyway, so the point is that the when pleasure potency left Rama, so Rama was very very unhappy. And externally he was teaching. Externally he was teaching material people like us, conditioned souls like us. Now saying that we shouldn't become too much attached to women. Now women can be wife also. Of course, then getting attached to a woman who is not our wife is totally fallen condition, right? But even becoming attached to our own wife, excessive attachment is not recommended. Now, which is the reason the way this whole Grihastha ashram works, is very interesting. The way the Lord has designed it. Mm. So mostly, I'm just describing married life, in a nutshell. So mostly people, when they get married, they're super excited, right? Uh, they're very happy with each other, husband and wife, and they're going here and there, and they talk nicely, sit and talk, chat, blah blah blah. Now what happens slowly? Slowly, steadily, that attraction decreases. Okay, and then when child comes, then it becomes pretty, because obviously the mother is busy with the child, and so then the relationship becomes distanced, right? And then if there are two children, then that's it, right? I mean, then pretty much husband and wife, they're now different persons, new persons, right? Their relationship is very different. Now this is done for a reason. It's done for a reason. Also, the body of a woman deteriorates with childbirth, and this is also done for a reason, right? So, whole idea is that unfortunately, women, yeah, they're the Maya in this material world for men. And why is that given so much importance? Why is it not described saying men are Maya for women? For the sole reason that men are supposed to make spiritual progress. Of course, not in bhakti path, but previously, like karma, from karma to gnana, only men only were supposed to come. Women didn't have any option, and men are not supposed to get stuck, with attraction to women and family and this and that and all that. They're supposed to develop vairagya, and the whole system was such a way that naturally male develops renunciation. One of the reasons why women are made emotional is also because of this. So there are multiple reasons the Lord has created the body of a woman in such a way that naturally there should develop vairagya, renunciation in the male. This is by design. This is by design. And if one does not go by this path and he remains overly attached, he is going to suffer. And which is what Ramachandra is showing, saying that too much attachment to wife is going to result in suffering. Now, so much suffering Rama underwent that actually Ramayana very, vividly describes this. When, when Maricha, okay, so what happens basically? So Maricha comes there, right, in the form of a beautiful golden deer, irresistible golden deer. Now, suddenly, this is also actually a very important incident in Ramayana. Now, how Sita Devi is transcendental, right? But she gets attracted to this deer. Not attracted. Attracted is an understatement. She gets obsessed by the deer, with the deer, right? To such an extent that she actually in Ramayana it's described. She's saying Rama, you please get this for a pet. Like I will sit with her, I will play with her, I will feed her, etc., etc. Almost like Jada Bharata did, right? Okay, then she's, because Rama is not moving from his place, and then she's becoming disturbed, saying that, okay, is Rama not going to do? Get the deer for me. Then she goes to such an extent that she says, see, even if by chance you are not able to get it alive, it's okay, get it dead. Then I will use the skin of the deer to whatever, make a sitting place or sleeping place or whatever. Meaning she became so much obsessed, and she came down to, externally she came down to tamoguna. Mm. And this is also shows the excessive attachment towards material things is going to result in misery, right? And why it resulted in misery? Because when she got so much obsessed with it, now she's telling Rama, saying, Rama, I have not asked for you for anything. And Rama is also thinking, yeah, Sita has not asked me for anything so far. Now she's asking for a deer, so I should get it. And then, but he has doubt, he's feeling like, no, this must be some ploy. It doesn't look like, this deer doesn't look real. Because the way it is, the way the deer was, Rama had a doubt, saying that, maybe it's something else, maybe it's an asura. Uh, but Sita got so fixed, stuck in with the deer that so she's making all these kinds of sentimental statements, and Rama got stuck. So Rama became obliged to go behind the deer. And this was all because of that attachment. So Sita became attached to deer, Ram was attached to Sita. So what it resulted in Sita Devi being abducted. So when this happened, then Ramachandra goes behind the deer. Obviously, it's a Maya deer, it's magical deer because it's Maricha and Rakshasas have all those siddhis, powers, and all that. So, Maricha is just, dragging and dragging Rama deeper and deeper into the forest, which was what his mission was, to take him away from Sita Mata as far as possible. And at one point of time, Rama becomes bewildered, saying that, what is this? I mean, why am I not able to catch this deer? And then finally, at one point, he fires an arrow, and it catches the jumping. The deer is jumping in the air, and then the arrow hits the deer, and the deer falls hurt on the ground. And then at that point of time, Maricha, in the form of the deer, he calls out. He makes exact sound as Rama, voices Rama, and calls out, Sita, Lakshmana. Now, obviously, now Sita Mata was there in the hut, and Lakshmana was there because Rama had told Lakshmana, saying that you're not going to budge from here. Come what may. You know my power, you know everything, so you're not going to move from here. Whatever it is, it could be a Rakshasa, it could be anything, but I can deal with any Shakti, so you be here. Very clear instructions Rama had given. Now, obviously, now in Rama's voice, Sita Devi is hearing him calling out, Lakshmana, Sita. Now, suddenly she becomes affected. She says, what is this? My husband is in trouble. He's calling out for help. And she's looking at Lakshmana. Lakshmana is not moving from his place. And she becomes very mad. She becomes mad. And she makes a statement which is unimaginable for Sita Devi to make. She tells Lakshmana, saying, Lakshmana, you always wanted to enjoy me. Just see her bewilderment. Lakshmana was so prayerful all the time in the service of Rama and Sita Devi is saying, no, no, you always wanted to enjoy me. So now that you got an opportunity, you are hoping that your brother will be dead and that you can enjoy with me. And it hurts Lakshmana so much to the core of his heart. Lakshmana is just feeling so miserable. He just puts down his head. Looking at the lotus feet of Sita Devi, he says, Mother, I have never seen you above your lotus feet. What are you saying about enjoying? And then he says, okay, looks like destiny. And then he says, okay, for whatever reason, please don't go to the hut, whoever comes. Sita Devi says, it's okay, I will take care. Right? Um, so then obviously Lakshmana goes in search of Rama in the forest, and then he meets him. By that time, they come back, Ravana has come and abducted Sita. Now, when this happens, when Rama and Lakshmana come back to the hut and Rama sees that Sita Devi is not there, Rama becomes extremely mad at Lakshmana. Excessive emotions here, completely excessive emotions. Sita Devi's emotion towards the deer, Rama's emotion towards Sita Devi. In two situations. One is before he ran behind the deer, and now that Sita Devi is abducted. Because of that intense, affection or intense absorption, he becomes mad at Lakshmana. Now again, poor Lakshmana, he gets beaten, from both sides. From Sita Devi also spoke harsh words, and now Rama is also going to speak harsh words. And for whom? For Lakshmana, who had dedicated his whole life. He was like a shadow of Rama. He never used to leave Rama even for a moment. This kind of a person, and he just thought he was a servant of both Rama and Sita, and Sita Devi already spoke harsh words. Rama also speaks harsh words. Rama tells Lakshmana, saying that, you couldn't understand a simple instruction that I gave. I told you that you should not move from your location. Why did you do this? So generally in the character of the Supreme Lord, this fault-finding mentality is not there. This fault-finding mentality is material. Lord doesn't fault find, but to show materially absorbed people what happens when there is too much attachment. So he becomes like very material, and is criticizing Lakshmana for having come. And what is Lakshmana trying to say? Rama, I did not want to come, but Sita literally pushed me out. And then he's not ready to accept at all. He's saying, no, you did a mistake. And because of your mistake, now Sita Devi is gone. And then he starts lamenting like crazy. He becomes like a mad man. Literally is continuously crying, looking for Sita here, there. Both of them run around the forest, searching here, there, asking, talking to trees, water, plants, flowers, fruits, etc. So much distress, so much distress. And then he feels that the whole world has come to an end. You see, he thinks, okay, if Sita Devi is not there, if she's dead, then I don't have any reason to live. So excessive material attachment. That's why, Bhagavatam is saying this shows the plight of a person who is too attached to women. According to moral instructions, grihe narim vivarjayet. Uh, when one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him. Especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramachandra when banished by the order of his father. Oh, so Prabhupada is telling one more thing. Prabhupada is saying that first of all, he bringing Sita Devi to the forest itself looks like some form of attachment. Because moral instructions say that don't take. And especially in such a difficult journey, don't take wife. Hmm? Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Person who got it by his personal example. Now, obviously, Matajis who are hearing the class will be wondering, saying that what is this? What if our husband stops worrying about us, thinking about us, caring about for us? How will we live? Now, obviously, again, I've told this multiple times that this is Shastra tells us, prevents us from being materially attached. But nothing is stopping us from doing our duty dutifully. And we can show that affection to our family as devotees, provided they're all devotees. So then we look at spouse, husband or wife as a devotee, then we serve, we take care of them as a service. Mm. As a service so that they can make progress in devotion. So we provide facilities, man provides required facilities, women provides the required environment at house. So both of them together are helping each other in making progress in devotion. And on this platform, it's not material attachment. Now, what does that mean? Meaning, of course, if suppose if husband or wife is ill or something, then natural compassion has to come to take care of them. Now, it's natural because as human beings, we should have some compassion towards other jivas, and then they're not just other jivas; they're jivas in the house who are also serving us. So we should have that extra, we should feel obliged, saying that, my wife does so much for me, so I have to take care of her. And this is natural. This is natural. Now, what is being told is about excessive attachment. Now, excessive attachment means what? Excessive attachment means doing things which are not acceptable, doing wrong things. For example, somebody wants to buy something which is not required. Now, wife is asking, so then I have to get, then somebody takes a loan. Now, these things are not required, because not everybody, generally, body of a woman is more material attachment is there. So then, they want to have possessions, they want to buy things, this, that, and all of it is natural, which is natural for their body. But the person, the male, has to be a little bit, in control of the situation and make sure that, he doesn't take wrong decisions. It could be financial decisions, it could be other things. Sometimes, for a woman, then, then there are fights and, misunderstanding and this and that and all that. So these things all result in because of excessive attachment. So Shastra tells us saying that, whether it's wife or children, just treat them as souls. And we're all devotees in the house and serve them just like we serve other devotees. Of course, if we don't serve other devotees, then we don't serve our family also. And I've seen many devotees who don't serve family, but they serve outside. But that's not correct. As in, it's not the right mindset. The mindset is there also devotees, outside also there are devotees. So I take care of them also, and I take care of outside devotees also. I do my service. So everything has to be managed well. Mm. It's very important lesson, and yeah, just becoming unnecessarily materially attached to spouse results in misery. I mean, first thing is there is emotional misery. This is one big problem in the material world because men are not emotional, women are emotional, and then that itself is sufficient recipe for disaster, for pain, for pain in the relationship. uh. So it's very, very important that it be managed well. Mm. So, okay. So, of course, this is the material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramachandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana Parobhyaktat. Narayana is beyond the material creation. Because he is the creator of the material world, he is not subject to the conditions of the material world. The separation of Lord Ramachandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralambha. Okay, so technically Prabhupada is explaining, which is the activity of the Hladini potency of the Supreme Person of Godhead belonging to the Shringara Rasa, the male of conjugal love in the spiritual world. So this Vipralamba is not, okay, Vipralamba is primarily associated with Shringara Rasa or Madhurya Rasa, but there is Vipralamba in all rasas. And even in Vatsalya, there is Vipralamba, but that Vipralamba is Vatsalya Vipralamba, meaning that separation is because of feelings of parenthood, separation of mother from a child. Right? Similarly, the separation of friend from a friend. But then the highest platform that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu professed was this Vipralamba of the gopis. It is the highest, you might wonder why it is the highest. It is the most intense form of, devotion. See, I've explained this before. For Vatsalya Rasa, it's all socially acceptable, right? Nobody's going to object. Parents loving their children or even other elders loving a young child. It's natural. We see in our center also so many small children. Everybody wants to talk to them, play with them. It's not that just their parents. In fact, mostly parents will be, will get a break. So many other devotees want to spend time with children, small children, talk to them, etc., etc. So this is natural. This is Vatsalya Rasa. This is natural. Now, Sakhya also is natural. People have friends and friends go out and they spend time, they enjoy. Now, nobody objects to all this in society. But what is objected is a married woman going with somebody else. With another male is objectionable, is not acceptable. Now, obviously, it was difficult for the gopis because the gopis were pure devotees, but they were, like I was discussing yesterday about Chaya gopis, so they were married to other gopas. Inevitably, but their attraction to Krishna or the devotion to Krishna would not be blocked by just their marriage, which happens to everybody. Even in this material world, devotees get married, but even after marriage, their love for Krishna remains. It's not like they will forget Krishna because of their marriage, right? So their situation was just like that, but just because Krishna was present there as a Parapurusha, as another third person, not her husband. So it became extremely difficult for gopis to serve Krishna. And so then they were feeling that separation because they were not allowed to mingle, serve Krishna openly. So that form of devotion is the most intense when you are not allowed to serve Krishna. And which is why I keep saying those devotees who have struggles in their life, where family is not supportive, husband is not supportive, wife is not supportive, this is not supportive, that is not supportive, but still they continue with devotion. I say this is the topmost feeling. When one will then serve Krishna in separation, thinking, oh, Krishna, I'm not able to serve you. And that is the topmost form of devotion for Krishna. And because the feelings there are most intense, most intense. Of course, then Vipralamba in the spiritual world is very bewildering. And devotees are always in distress because of this Vipralamba. There was always feeling of separation. So, when they're separated, they're a little bit more happy because they look forward to the time of meeting. But when they meet, because of the imminent separation that's going to happen, that meeting also causes distress. So it's very painful. It's very painful. But all this because it is love for Krishna, that pain manifests as happiness. In the sense that, when we are pain, looking forward to meeting Krishna, so then there is happiness. Then when you meet, then there is happiness, but that the pain of separation also takes over. So there is always both, in some sense, happiness and distress. So it's difficult. So Prabhupada, that's why he says that, even in that distress, there is happiness. How it is, we can't understand, but yeah, even in the distress, there's happiness. So this is Vipralamba, and this is the topmost platform. Um, so there are two stages in the relationship with the Supreme Lord. One is called Sambhoga or meeting, and the other is Vipralamba, which is separation. And Vipralamba is considered to be most intense, most intense. And when devotees start feeling this Vipralamba with Krishna, then that means that they've made tremendous progress in their devotion. Obviously, I don't want to name devotees, but I I know devotees who are already experiencing this in their devotion. Okay, with very few years of devotion, and it's amazing. It's just amazing, and uh, which is why I was saying the other day, saying that I'm fortunate that I know the spiritual progress of most devotees who are in touch with me, and then it humbles me when I see that others seem to be a lot more advanced than I am, and for some reason Krishna has put me in this position to guide them or whatever, but they should be guiding me. Such devotees are there in our Congress, but nobody understands, and we don't want them to know also. We don't want people to know about exalted, and it's not right. Shastra says keep your bhakti secret. We should never talk about our bhakti to others, but because they take guidance from me, so I know what state of devotion they are in. Unfortunately, people around them can't understand. If they don't know what, they're not read from Shastra. Right? So this Vipralamba is the topmost platform of devotion, topmost platform of devotion. Even if somebody, he's so happy by seeing Krishna, but that's not even close to the distress a devotee feels because of separation from Krishna. That separation from the Lord is the most intense form of affection, love, bhakti for the Lord. And those who experience that in this life, they're super fortunate. They're just fortunate. I mean, and you know, um, it's not even something that we can work towards. I can't say, oh, okay, I'm going to work towards becoming like this. We can't work towards it. Well, that comes only by the mercy of Krishna. Of course, Krishna says, you do your bhakti nicely, I will bestow mercy. But we don't know when. Mm. So it's very exalted. This Vipralamba is very, very exalted. In the spiritual world, mm, okay, there's some technical stuff. I don't know how much we will discuss. The Supreme Person of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms of called Satvika, Sanchari, Vilapa, Murcha, Unmada. Now, so Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes various kind of symptoms of love, and what they are when those feelings appear. So it's not like love for Krishna is not some mundane sentiments. It's not like that. It goes by tattva, and that tattva is called rasa tattva. Meaning, even exchange of emotions, feelings towards the Lord has a tattva, has a philosophy behind it. It goes as per that philosophy. It's not whimsical. It's not just by the way a devotee thinks. Of course, there is some scope for freedom, but the principles cannot be created anew. I mean, there are already principles are there. And for example, the way Radha loves Krishna is as per principles of rasa. Of course, her emotion becomes the principle. The way she loves Krishna becomes the principle for others to know. But there are principles. So it's not like, I felt like doing this today, I will do it. I felt like doing something else, I will do that. It doesn't work that way. It's also guided in that sense, but it feels natural. It's naturally being guided. Anyway, it's a high topic, so I'm not going to discuss this. Anyway. Thus, when Lord Ramachandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, is Sachidananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss, as explained by Srila Swarupa Damodar Goswami. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikratir Hladini Shakti Rasmat. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramachandra therefore manifested the truth, both spiritually and materially. So this is what Supreme Lord does. He manifests both the spiritual and material truths. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. This further explained Avajanantima Muda. Okay. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Lord thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being, but the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material conditions. This fact is further explained in Skanda Purana as quoted by Madhvacharya. Okay, long verse. It was actually impossible for Ravana to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravana was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burnt and the real Sita came out of the fire. Meaning she vanished now and then she appeared when her Agni Pariksha was done later. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be in this material world, must be given protection. For as soon as she is unprotected, she will be exploited by Rakshasas like Ravana. So this is very important. Here the words Vaideha Raja Duhitari indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramachandra, she was protected by her father Vaideha Raja. And when she was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to the Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman's being independent. For a woman cannot protect herself independently. Now, modern women don't agree with this, right? But whether they agree or not, it does not matter because that is the reality. It's like saying, I don't believe in this signal system. Now, whether you believe it or not, you have to follow the signal system. Whether you like it or not, you have to follow. Similarly, there is a certain design in this material world, and Lord who created the design has said, okay, women have to be protected. Now, he's the one who's created this world, so he knows how nasty this world is. So he is recommended, saying that for your own safety, better be protected at all times. Now, obviously, I mean, who wants to hear all this, right? Today's modern women, they think that they're equal to men in all respects. And I've discussed this multiple times. There are no way they can become equal because biologically they're different, mentally, psychologically they're different, physically they're different, everything they're different, right? But they want equal status. So is it possible? How is it possible? Child becomes attached to the mother, not to the father. You can't change it. You can't just change it. I mean, very rare cases, child becomes attached to father, right? Possibly that those cases, generally mother is maybe a demon, right? But otherwise, the child is naturally attached to the mother. It can't be changed. But what mothers do nowadays, they keep that emotion, that feeling apart, and then they go to work, leaving the child in some daycare, etc. It's so painful. It's actually jiva himsa. Jiva himsa, it's actually himsa, violence to a jiva, because the jiva is supposed to be dependent on the mother. And as a mother, it's her responsibility, it's a duty to take care of the child. So, in the name of, which is why Shastra says, don't give too much education to women. Because when they get education, then they think, oh, I'm qualified now, I'll go out. If they're not educated, then where will they go? They're not going to go anything. They're going to sit at home, right? Now, obviously, like today's modern women can't understand and accept this, right? Now, but yeah, like I said, whether they understand or accept it or not, reality is reality. They are naturally happy when they're at home. They're in distress when they are working. It's a very simple fact, and I've told this. Distress can be handled by men, but not by, or pressure can be handled by men, but not by women, right? And it's a recipe for disaster, for pain, for suffering in this material world. So Prabhupada is saying, better just women, they are safe actually. Their life is so simple. Just be protected under, father, husband, or child, and take care of house culture in the house, do devotion, go back to God. It's simple. Men have to bother about earning money and take care of families. Their headache. It's a headache. And they have to take care of it. Now, so many devotees, they don't want to work now. They want to do devotion full time, but they can't. They just can't because they have to take care. And women have the opportunity to do full time service. So they're so fortunate, in their women body that they can actually achieve perfection, but for some reason they don't want. They want to suffer. And what can be done? Hmm? So anyway, Prabhupada is making these statements. I'm just little bit painting it more. That's all. Right? These are not my statements. Whatever Prabhupada is saying, I'm highlighting because we don't. One thing when we read Prabhupada's books, we don't know what to take, how much importance to give to what. That's our problem. And sometimes because some instruction seems very difficult, we just ignore it. So my job is to bring it to the forefront. You put it in the background. No, bring it to the forefront. It's an important instruction. That's all. Right. Anyway, so I'll close here. So amazing, actually, Ramayana. So hopefully next week we'll do a lot more of this. Okay, so I'll close here. If anybody has any doubts, comments, otherwise we'll close. Nothing? All okay? Okay, good. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। समेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।